Welcome back to episode 171 of Who Should You Choose? Video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and talk about NHL 26. So tomorrow at, I believe, 11 a.m. Eastern time, we are getting the Be a Pro deep dive, which is really, for all intents and purposes, the biggest feature that NHL 26 is going to put into the game. It is going to be the thing, more than likely, that NHL 26 is remembered for. And what's funny is that Be a Pro across any game is one of the most important. If you actually look at the data, there are so many players that play offline modes, whether it's franchise, whether it's Be a Pro. The problem is you just never hear from them because Be a Pro and offline modes require very little discourse online, right? And Be a Pro being the same for 5 years, it was one of the things that kept coming up right up there with GM Connected. And obviously GM Connected is a historical, everyone wants it back in. So every time that it's not, it was getting a lot of traction. So as someone who does not play a lot of Be a Pro ever since I turned this video game into a career, it's funny, I play the game less because I have to work on it in my free time. So I haven't played a lot of Be a Pro since NHL 20, since essentially the pricey pond hockey actually came into the game. And I'm really happy for the offline players. I talk a lot about over the last few years that I try and have the casual players in mind more than anything, almost to a fault at this point. But I know there are a ton of people out there that really enjoy Be a Pro, and I'm hoping that this delivers. And I want to go through some predictions and things because we are going to see the trailer. I have not seen it yet. I'm going to try and do a breakdown video maybe tonight on it, get my first look at it before it goes out. So then tomorrow I can give you my reactions to it. But my predictions and what I want to see from it, I want to see some replayability after the first year. I think that's one of the biggest issues with Be a Pro modes is that it's very difficult to retain some entertainment once the first year is done, because obviously offline modes, you're going to get a lot of people that just play that first month or two and then they stop. So it's got to be, they put all the focus on in the beginning, as they should for the most part, but then it gets very boring usually, or repetitive as it goes along. So I'm hoping that they found ways to automate and have some fun with it. I do love the fact that we got news that it's voice acted. One of the things I can't stand in Road to the Show or any other mode that is Be a Pro type style is that the cutscenes are not acted. It's like, here's you walking into the scene and then it's like text blurb. Like, nope, that's not going to add a lot of immersion in 2025. So the fact that apparently it's all voice acted is pretty insane. I love that. I got to be honest with you, I don't know how to make it more fun. It's the thing about sports games when it comes to Be a Pro is that it's very difficult to actually like the your team popularity. How does that work? How does that make it impactful? Your brand, all that stuff, other than just like this number is higher. How do you get it to impact it effectively and not make it an annoyance in the game? So I played a little bit of college football 26, and I loved 25. I thought it was one of the best sports games that came out, and I think it was the first sports game that really had the offline players in mind more than the online players. Like, College Ultimate Team was really an afterthought in comparison to Dynasty and Road to Glory, right? And when I played 26, there was really nothing new. And one of the annoyances that I found was you had to like make your grades high enough to like play, but it became so annoying that you couldn't upgrade your player at all because you had to do this arbitrary study GPA grade. And it really, really started to become frustrating because having a really high GPA really didn't do much overall other than the fact that you could graduate early and then play Madden, which I guess in a sense, if that is your goal, was kind of cool, but it really didn't immerse yourself in just that game itself. So I'm hoping that NHL, they find a way to make those things matter. My prediction, they don't. It's still arbitrary. Like, oh, I get all this money and I sign the biggest contract. Like, okay, so this one screen, it says I have a big house, but I don't see the house, right? Like, that's the stuff that I'm concerned about. I would love it if it was stat-based RPG. You score a lot of goals in one season. Every time, everything that you do in game has a stat that goes up. Okay, I don't want the, just the base XP and then, you've got to upgrade at your own will. I think there should be some of that, but I would love training every week that mattered. I wish there was like drills and things like in Madden. I would love it if they had that. If they had the drills, because that's an RPG element. You're doing a task to get a specific upgrade in a specific thing. That's very World of Warcraft type thing, and I think that's what Be a Pro does well, or like should do well. So I'm hoping we see a lot of that, like upgrades that matter. And then as we go along, I really hope they ironed out like showing incorrect stats, or like the coach being like, hey, I'm going to need more out of you when you have 5 goals in a game. Like, I just hope that stuff is at a minimum, and we'll wait and see. Like I said, this is the main feature for 26. So I have a feeling that it's going to have quite a bit of substantial stuff in it, and it won't just be a fresh layer of paint. But even if it is all changed, that doesn't mean it's been ironed out. So cautious optimism is kind of what I have for any sports game, because they try and release a yearly product in a broken, archaic release format that is only around because that's how it worked in the 90s. And we'll wait and see, right? So let's get into the questions from last Who Should You Choose? I'm going to start with like the newest, because, again, there was a few days in between. So Jim Rock says, offline Ultimate Team people are ruining Ultimate Team. Go play franchise. Ultimate Team is an online mode. The online modes need a franchise-style season and playoffs instead of a load of random games. All right. First of all, couldn't disagree more, because the thing about Ultimate Team, man, is just that. You get to build your Ultimate Team. In franchise mode, unless you turn trades off, you can't go get Connor McDavid on the Pittsburgh Penguins, really, right? Like, so you can't build your Ultimate Team. There's a salary cap, all of that. I guess technically there's a salary cap in Hut now, but you get what I'm saying. I hate that. Every 2 weeks, like, I used to think that offline players don't matter at all. If you took away offline players, Hut doesn't get any love at all. You basically just fracture the entire player base. There needs to be offline stuff in Ultimate Team, right? So I couldn't disagree more. Now, I think that with the new Hut Cup chase going to a mini season type format, I've been saying this for like 5 years. There needs to be franchise elements for squad battles, and it looks like they're slowly getting into that. I've always said that one of my favorite things should be, again, the thing about franchise mode that's awesome is like scouting, right? Scouting is like one of the favorite things, because like you're scouting, you see draft picks, and then and the draft is always one of the best things in franchise mode. I would love it if you start the mini season, depending on the difficulty you do, right? You earn rewards, but they're all turned over. And the more objectives you complete, you get to turn over one. And in that, depending on the difficulty you have, you get high-end cards. So let's say at launch, there is an 85 overall flashback Joe Pavelski captain card for the San Jose Sharks, all right? Now, if you play on rookie, there's 10 options. He's one of them, okay? If you make the playoffs, you get to flip over a card. If you have a player win the Rocket Richard, flip over a card. If you win in the first round of the playoffs, flip over a card. You get what I'm saying, right? Now, on rookie, you shouldn't be able to flip over all the cards and know what's coming, right? But if you play on Superstar, maybe there's more Joe Pavelski cards in there, right? And every time you complete an objective, if you went and you won the cup, did all the objectives, you got all the other packs, and it's not just the card that you get to select, right? You flip it over and you know you're getting Joe Pavelski guaranteed. I think that is like something that would be enjoyable. The other thing is, I think your coach card should have impacts on the stuff. So one of the things would be is if you do enough, and you do enough Hut Cup chase rewards, and you do it well enough, maybe you unlock scouting level 1 and 2. And if you have scouting level 2, you get to flip 2 cards over at the beginning on top of it, right? I just think that would go a long way. And then for like online, it would be, double rewards or something along. You get what I'm saying, right? Get an additional thing. Maybe every Rivals game, instead of getting like 2,000 coins, if you have a good enough Rivals record or a good enough Rivals experience as you're on your coach card, you get 3,000 coins, right? Like along those lines. But yeah, Ultimate Team offline players need to be in the game, man. Why don't they blow out these content drops with big names? No one wants to use a guy who is a third liner on his own team. So many big name guys need 97s or up. And why have they not given out high 90s for legends? Let us play with the big names, not Mark Kostelic. Ray Bourque has had 3 cards all year, and you can't even find his 94 in the marketplace. So confusing why they don't do more big names, particularly at this point in the year. This point in the year, yeah, it's a mess. Here's why they highlight in events some non-big names. And it's because those cards normally don't get... It's something that happened in the prior content team over the years, because there used to be prime times, and primetime cards were if a player scored a hat trick the night before in real life, he would get a primetime card the next day. He'd go up +2 overall from his prior card, right? So if Connor McDavid had an 85 at launch, he would get an 87 overall primetime or an 86 overall primetime. I don't really remember. It would be an overall upgrade. If he had like a hat trick or a 4-point night, something like that. If a defenseman had a 3-point night, he would get a primetime card, right? Goalie had a shutout. Now, what happened was that meant that all of those top-end guys would guarantee themselves cards. Team of the weeks, all of that would be there, right? So there'd be no way to make a theme team or have players that are on your favorite team that are not the S-tier players. So they made them... Mario Ferraro would be a perfect example for the Sharks, okay? Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, Toffoli, even Eklund, those guys are Askarov. They're all going to get their cards because they're going to perform well. They're better players. Ray Ferraro, Mario Ferraro is not going to get one, so they give him an event card, right, to make up for it. Now, the real issue is that they used to release 12,000 cards in a year. Now, with the 3-day content release and the fact that they're releasing more usable content, so instead of it being 50 cards a day, you're getting 20, but they're much higher overalls. Again, that's something that people forget about, is that the old content team would release 50 cards in a day, but even in August, there would be 87s, obviously not usable, right? All the content cards, for the most part, have a threshold that you could put on your team. You wouldn't want to if you had a God Squad, but if you just started the game, they would make your team. The old content team, they would just release cards, and there would be cards that come out that wouldn't even make a brand new team. So that's why they really need to figure out how to do this. And it's very difficult because in the MLB, okay, I use Diamond Dynasty as an example a lot because it's the game I know the most, and it is, for all intents and purposes, the best ultimate team mode for content. There's still issues with MLB, but it is the best for content. The issue is that it's just MLB. There's a prospect drop at the draft, but they don't really make them other than like that specific drop. So it's just MLB and alumni. In the NHL, there's the AHL, there's the CHL, the Major Junior, there's the European leagues, and they mess around with those. Now, the last 2 years, they really haven't done a lot of cards for those leagues. But that's a big issue because of the 9,000 or 10,000, which is 2,000 less than what we had in prior years, I would say probably like 2, maybe 3,000 of them are non-NHL players, and that makes it even more difficult because then there's less cards. So they really need to figure out a way to do that, and we'll see. Hut is getting a pretty big overhaul from a content standpoint, and we'll just have to wait and see how that works. The Heroes and Icons thing, I'm interested to see how that works because instead of it being all of these like chase cards and icons, it looks like they're releasing icons in a big release every season. So at launch, we have 6 icons, 6 heroes. Heroes are like team builders. They're not Hall of Famers for the most part. They're just like team legends. That's why Hemsky got one. And it looks like, so every season we can expect 12 of those. So you might get a Fedorov card later on in the year that is a higher overall, for example. 18 games, oh my god. Squad battles were an easy way to get rewards. Now they'll be boring to play offline to get something. I feel this year will be worse for rewards and money grabbing will be terrible. I am sure that pay to win will be the name of the game. Brother, you had to do 30 to get the squad battle rewards. Again, I'm going to play devil's advocate. The only way to get squad battle rewards was to complete the 30 wins in squad battles, which meant, at minimum, you had to play 30 squad battle games. You only have to play 18 in the regular season, and then you've got 2 series. We don't know how long those series are. But let's say it's even around 30. That's exactly the same. There is objective elements that are new and fresh, or I would hope. There's some sort of blank team. I just got to put the controller down, and that's it. There's like hopefully there's some presentation of like winning the cup or whatever it is. That would be sweet. And then there's exclusive rewards for doing that in squad battle. Again, we don't know, but I'm hoping that there's less of the objective stuff. Remember at launch of 25, everything was in the XP path. I talked about this. And the XP path was so underwhelming. It was so concerning. And it looked like we lost probably a lot of the hardcore player base early on because of that. The thing I said, though, was that because there was no objective paths, like win 30 Rivals games to get those packs, it was the only way to play, and it actually made the game somewhat fun because I could just play Rivals and get all of the rewards available to me. Okay? Same thing with squad battles. You could just play squad battles and you would get all the rewards available to you even if you didn't play online, right? However, the rewards were so bad. So they had to put the objective path back in. I am hoping that if Hut Cup Chase is... That's a mouthful. If the Hut Cup is replacing squad battles, I'm hoping that the 30 win... So I think you got like 20,000 coins. You got like 4 different packs, including like a decent one at the end. I'm hoping all of those packs are in the season and there's no objectives. In a perfect world, get rid of the boring objectives and let's say win 10 games in squad battles. Okay? Win 10 games in squad battles is what we had this year. Arbitrary, boring, put the controller down, whatever. That pack is now in the regular season. Win the Rocket Richard trophy. Like a little bit more engaging. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm hoping that's how it is. Because if it's just objectives too, then it is the same thing. And I'm hoping that's not it. And I hope and again, I want to be very clear here. I want the rewards that we got for squad battles to improve this year and just all be in the Hut Cup mode. I don't want to deal with the objectives. I think the objective reward system is awful. It is terrible. So I'm hoping that the rewards are just in the game. Are the theme team upgrade chem boosts going to be static all year, or will they be constantly changing? Like using the example of 3 ducks on a line for that overall boost, but then a new event comes out, or we change months in the calendar and EA changes the combos and your lineup is now blown and you're having to change it up. Do we know how many possible combinations they'll have? I can't discuss this currently because I truthfully don't understand it fully. And I don't think it's been mentioned anywhere, so we have to wait for the Hut deep dive. This is a little concerning if it does change. I assume what a lot of people do or think about the chemistry system is that if you have 3 ducks, no matter what, the 3 of the same team, you get a boost. But if it's rotating and that isn't the case, then yeah, it's going to be very interesting because then you run into a situation where if the boosts are basically not EA provided, but if EA forces like 3 different ones, or let's say 10, you're going to get a lot of the exact same teams, which means that those cards are going to be driven through the roof. Like, so if an example, it's like there's a 4 Nations event and it's like, no, bad example. A European event, and it's like have a Swede, a Finn, and a Czechia player, right? Those 3, the best of those 3 players, will all skyrocket in price. Meanwhile, the prior season had 3 ducks, as an example. The ducks will crater in price, like the best ducks, is what I'm saying. So it'll be very interesting. I don't know how it's going to play out, truthfully. I need more info. I need it to be explained to me a little bit more. And that this is going to impact the market more than anything. But we'll wait and see. I don't know when the issue will ever be addressed, but I would love it if the second replay after goals isn't just super slow and then super sped up. It's a pointless replay almost every time, oftentimes resulting in the inability to see the goal a second time. Granted, sure, why would you care about replays anyway? However, at what point am I going to have to say enough is enough and not spend $90 a game that still has issues like this? I think that's on purpose, like it's a cinematic thing, and it might not be for everyone. I think I think my stance on replays and presentation is I want to see what it looks like in real life. And the slowdown speed up is kind of in real life, but it's usually just slow-mo as it goes in. So I want to see, I want to see realistic presentation. I'm over the show the X Factor, dim out the lights, all that. It's just not for me. And I understand I'm not the demographic they're trying to play for, but I will be pre-ordering the deluxe edition. Oh, dude, what a roller coaster ride that was. Salary cap will be great, I think, for casual players. And at last, there won't be the same teams and players all games. We hope. We don't need 99 teams, and having some low overall cards will be great. We'll need to make strategic decisions. I hate all you streamers complaining that we need to allow 99, and then you say 99 HUD is bad. I've watched you for years, and you can say you should make up your mind, and can say you should make up your mind. I am an older guy, and I hate that I can't make my dream team because all the best cards, they are not competitive, and all the skilled players, it is not the majority that plays. Well, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know if you just like pick and chose like my stance on this. I have not really cared about us not having 99 cards. I think it's hilarious that we have like a 99 Lucas Raymond and we didn't have a 99 overall Connor McDavid. I thought the progression this year was fine. However, I think that they need to half shooting as well as they do with speed. I really don't care that cards aren't upgraded. The only thing that matters is the only reason people care is because people want to be, okay, that card is done. I don't need to worry about replacing it, which in itself is an issue in the mode. If you just want to get cards where you don't have to worry about playing them, like that's a boring, like that's an issue with the mode making you feel like that, right? I think the salary cap should be great for casual players. I am scared that EA... Here is what's going to happen. The first 2 weeks, the market will be the worst it's ever been in the sense that no one has any idea how it works. Even more than this year, when silver cards spiked to 5,000 coins. For context, they never were more than quick sell in any other NHL release. Okay? They became one of the most expensive. Almost any card couldn't be bought because it was just like the amount of cards we received every day or from playing the game was so low that it just crushed the market. So I think this year, if it is like 3 Anaheim Ducks, for instance, during this season, or whatever it is, right? Though there will be meta builds, and you can bet your bottom dollar if the first season is 3 San Jose Sharks, okay, and you get a big boost to salary cap or AP, Macklin, Celebrini, Will Smith, and Eklund are going to shoot way up in value. Or Joe Thornton, his icon card, for example. They're going to go way high. And then people are going to build what they deem to be the best. This offers far more flexibility in that, yes. I couldn't agree more that there is an issue where you can't use your favorite players and be good at the game online. It is very difficult. I built my team this year by making cards that I liked, and then when I wanted to go for Division 1, I had to throw that out the window. And that's annoying. Like, I hate that. But I don't know if it is going to make it better and team building more fun, but we have to wait and see exactly how it is going to work, okay? That's going to do it for this episode of Who Should You Choose, guys. Be a Pro Deep Dive does come tomorrow, so be sure to check out the channel for that. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.